Do.
Yay! It's raining
Yay.
out today. Death to summer. Die, summer. Die, die. No, it's just a small respite, but hopefully cools us down enough to enjoy the rest of the week, fraction of the month. I got heat stroke on Saturday, so that's my lot. I'm literally singing in the rain. Welcome everyone to Stone Soup. If it's not raining where you are, I hope it's at least very comfortable. I hope you're taking care of yourself. And I hope you're with us for the whole night as we introduce tonight's 2019 Beat Poet Laureate, Chris Vannoy. Came to me highly recommended. I do take audience recommendations. Just ask Robert Fleming of Old Scratch Press and numerous others. Excuse me. Chris Vannoy has a book coming out later on this year, planned for 2025. And a very storied history being a poet on the West Coast, which I'm sure he's going to tell us all about. We have a quick open mic before the feature, and the Ramnator 5000 has chosen the first of us. If there's anyone who doesn't want to be part of the open mic, please let me know via chat or start waving your hands if I call your name. Either work pretty well. Let's go up first to the man who'll be covering the 500-yard dash duck walk with real ducks in his hometown of Idaho as part of the Olympics. Let's welcome up Mr. Bill Lewis.
Oh, me? I will not.
Sure.
Thank you. I'm verklempt. Just a moment. Where am I? I'm sorry. I'm confused. You caught me off guard. Okay, let's see. So that should work. I'm going to be nice and happy and nostalgic today. I'm not going to do anything mean and cruel and complaining. So we were cutting a Christmas tree, Julian and I. His mom helped choose it, but we cut it. Me and Julian, the men, you know, we were the men doing manly things. He was happy, very happy, happy as an 8-year-old can possibly be, doing manly things with a man who was almost his father. He didn't call me father, but he didn't correct his friends when they did. Your daddy's funny. He just looked at me and smiled. Gene Kravitz, Apollo 13 flight director, speaking at Stanford. We watched the movie with his mom and baby brother. Then we went to Stanford. We had coffee and Kogo afterwards and talked about space travel at the Stanford Union with Stanford students, him and me, the two of us, me and Julian and me, the men. 30 years ago. I wonder, does Julian think of me when he takes his own son to cut a Christmas tree?
Thank you, Bill. And now, and now let's go to. I thank him for earlier today and provided me with artwork that's hopefully going to be seen at the Ugly Monster very soon. We talked a little bit about it pre-recording. This is a site. This is a gaggle of poets that are secretly wrestling fans in one form or another, um, or at least a good chunk of us are, or at least a good chunk of us are curious. But this person, I don't know if he's any of the three, but he sure draws a good Hulk Hogan caricature, and a good poet as well. His work is all over Oddball this past Monday. Let's welcome up Mr. Richard Spizak.
Thank you so much, my friends. An honor to be among this fine select group of poets. My first poem I'd like to offer you tonight is called Is She? This reflects on that curious phenomenon where one candidate wants to racially qualify somebody else. Is she? Is she Indian or is she French? I'm not exactly sure what it is, how they dumped and pumped and puffed us up into this silly trench and thumb. Were she Swiss? Does it follow she'll always swing and miss best bat hollow? I'm not quite sure how we got to this. Were she Swede or Lordy Bantu? I'm not quite clear how it's up to you. If she's a Parisian or perhaps a Czech, I'm never quite sure what you'll say next. She's got good references, worked for Law and Order. As a prosecutor, she clearly worked to reduce disorder. She had a plan to help kids stay in school. Isn't that what we all would do? Keep them at it, keep them learning, if only to reduce the city's burning. But if you're convinced that she's Hawaiian and that somehow she'd never actually want to be trying, and if Argentinian she's proved to be, she therefore never cross the Zuyder Zee? And if Italian, would she prove bereft of virtue? That is, it's only nature and never nurture. And if her parents were raised by nuns, could she never dance, have fun? And if by laughing she some joy permits, must her children therefore be hermits? And if upon the Arctic Circle she once traveled, would her plans for justice all unravel? And if we elect her, won't she try? If you say no, I wonder what it is you've got stuck somehow deep in that bloodshot eye. Were she a Martian, she'd still be better by half than that blinkin' Trumpy, 'cause he's so weird and very, very daft. Thank you, my friends. And if I might abuse your good ears and consciousness with another one, this is for those of you who really think that climate change is an illusion. Therefore, we turn our eyes to God. Thank the gods. Thank the gods for air conditioning. It forgives and ameliorates my awful geo-positioning. I need not worry about the heat nor scurry when my sweaty feet refuse to rest in clothed-in shoes. What we'd do without 'em, heaven, carrier, and train only knows. And refrigeration lets me refine the chill enclosure where I keep my wine, and the freezer where I store my lunch, so that in August my salad still goes crunch. Ah, the merry music of ice in my glass, all the hot and sultry days my ancient family tree surpassed, allows my Coca-Cola stew to bubble and sizzle just like, well, you know who. Frames and confines my salad in cold cuts so fine, preserves the food in each plastic container. Sure, it sheds little old microscopic plastic taters that taint my bloodstream while it does its work. Does that make me a soda jerk? And when the Texas grid collapses, what you gonna do? How slow at 120 degrees Fahrenheit the time slow passes without the clink of ice in your glasses. No regulation slaps their wrist, so who's exactly to blame for this? No Democrat near to give big business pause. So lordy, lordy, we's chumming their jaws. So when in deregulation the grid collapses, trust me, won't be no icebergs clinking in your glasses. And when deregulation, no air conditioning lights the neighborhood, there won't be no televisioning. And all those trinkets that surround might as well be paving stones. No, 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 not a single jingle sound. The climb-aware old weatherman will finally be silent, no more complaining, while in this TV studio silence stands whether or not it's raining. No more complaining about climate change while the deck chairs on the Titanic get subtly, almost imperceptibly rearranged. Thank you, my friends.
Thank you very much, Richard. And hopefully you'll see our work in the Ugly Monster very soon, sooner rather than later. If you have a Medium membership, I'd recommend going to the Ugly Monster. It's one of those Medium-based online journals, focuses on pop culture with political takes and applying it to the real world, whether you're playing Dungeons and Dragons or watching a movie and reviewing it. We try to do that part, and I'm predominantly the magazine's poet, though I haven't contributed in a while. And I do praise Richard for providing the art because I do like providing illustrations with the work. Let us welcome up now, as chosen by Remdinator 5000, Mr. Edward S. Galt, who in the chat showed a picture of his latest book, his newest book, Airhead. And don't forget to unmute.
Yep. Thank you very much. I will be reading from that. One of these I originally published in Oddball called I Know You Will Be Wonderful. Mom, I don't know what you've named me. I can sense that you don't feel good about me in some way. It's not the right time, is it? I surprised you, didn't I? I'm getting the sense from you that you're not ready to be my mother. You're very young and it's too much. You and Dad need more time. I understand. I need you to know something. I don't feel well. Have the doctors told you something? Have they told you I might not make it? If you decide to be my mother, you would want to be the very, you would want me to be the very best I could be. I know things can't be perfect. There's no guarantee. I just want the best shot I could have. Is it safe out there? I want to make a difference to you and to others. On the other hand, I don't want to be hurt out there. I know you're worried about the world. There's a lot of fear. So if you're not ready, time's not right. Let's just wait. I might come back, or you'll be a mother someday to another. I know you will be wonderful. And this next one is called Closing Time. My children came out and told me that you wouldn't take their money. You told them you were closing. I can't appreciate I can appreciate that you want to get home, and we did come late. The streets were confusing and we got lost. The people that we asked for directions of said they didn't know. Also, they didn't seem to care. So here we are. We are leaving very early tomorrow morning, and it will be a long ride home. The children don't get to go on these vacations often. In fact, this is their first time out of state. We waited until they were just the right age. We had to save a long time for this trip, so we just wanted them to see it. It wouldn't take very much time at all, and it would have meant so much for them to be able to say that they had seen this. It's not like we can come back another day. When I was their age, my own father brought me here. Your rangers told the most wonderful stories. They made the history come alive in a way my own teachers never could. And my sister and I even got our picture taken in one of your colonial costumes. These memories are why we are bringing them now. So please, mister, won't you let them in just for a minute? They'll be right out, I promise. Just for a minute. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You,
Thank you.
Ed Gentleman Galt. Can't wait to read the book. Up next, we have Jan Rowe of the Black Seed Writers Group and of Stone Soup, of course.
Hi. I'm going to read this that I wrote the other day. What vaccines have meant for me, or water attracts children. Midday, early to mid 1960s, a fleet of different sized bicycles with different numbers of children on those bicycles. We were headed for a stream at the bottom of some hill, a turnoff from the Narrows, a concrete shoulderless road from Maxwell Label to Brownsville, Pennsylvania. We knew not how far. It was almost like a pilgrimage in retrospect. Between the concrete narrows of Monongahela River were hundreds of coke ovens built in 1903, hundreds, Alicia coke ovens. I don't know if they were fired in the daytime, but at night the sky glowed red until the doctor across the river got him shut down for the drifting over there. So also was Hillman Barge, because coal was then traveling by train and barges on the river. So our parents do not where we were. The polio vaccine had been freeing because prior to the vaccine, swimming or being around water in August was definitely not allowed for fear of the polio virus. But still, the little sister of our next door neighbor somehow got a leech attached to her leg. I can't remember how, but we must have got it off her. So that was our most distant creek. We stayed away from Redstone Creek. That was going into the Monongahela, site of a former ferry, because it was so orange before Pittsburgh found a way to extract iron from acid mine drainage and such. That's it. Thank you. I'm working on that. I had Cannon Rodman in there.
Thank you, Jan. I'm going to bring up now our visual poet, Robert Fleming, and hopefully I'll have a quicker reflex to put the share screen function on. There you go.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Robert Fleming, a visual poet from Lewis, Delaware. I'm currently preparing a submission for an Edgar Allan Poe themed magazine, and I am submitting 2 poems, 2 flash fictions, several cover art options, and interior art. And I'm going to share the cover art and interior art. This is my first one, where I've taken the image of a decaying hand and a living hand and put the name of the magazine and the edition on the hands. And this one, I just changed the same image, but I've changed the orientation of the text to be circular. Gives a little bit of a pizzazz. And here again is a different background image where I created a man out of mirrors, and then I put the name of the magazine and the edition on the man. Here is the same thing, but putting the magazine name on one of my images of the earth. And here is the same thing with just a different color of the earth being purple. This is one of the photographs that I took about a year ago when we had a lot of fires in Nova Scotia and the wind blew the ash south down to Delaware. This was one of the images of the sky that I took with a camera. So I put the title. And then the visual images for inside the magazine are all black and white. This is the same as the first one, except the color is black and white. And this is called Waiting to Shake the Hand, and it's black and white. This was a really cool image of the sky I took about 2 years ago. I also did a lighting filter change on it to make the lighting period, to give it a little more light. And this is another image of the sky, again with a lighting filter. The only thing I need to work on, one of my colleagues who's an artist told me about some of these initial pictures, is that the text is too small, so it won't be as visible. So thank you for letting me share some of my proposed submissions for the Edgar Allan Poe magazine. And I will put the link for that magazine in the chat. Submissions are open until September 30th.
That means it'll be out probably around Halloween. Nice timing for a Poe themed magazine. Thank you, Mr. Fleming. Up next, as Chris has probably surmised, a lot of us are East Coasters. You know, quite a few of us are Bostonian or were Bostonian until we moved. We do have another West Coaster representing tonight. Let's welcome up poet, publisher, creator of an anthology that's literally going to the moon, and the doer of 1,000 other things. Let's welcome up Mr. Mark Lipman.
Hey Chad, hey guys. Good to see you
Good to hear
tonight.
from you.
Like I said, I'm keeping my my video off because I've been having problems with connection on internet. But I would like to share a screen to show you something that's been going on if that works. So I'm gonna try that right now.
You do have
Okay.
permission, so go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Sound. Here it is. I have been looking for a vehicle to do a complete poetry tour existence for the longest time. And this just became a reality. Uh, I'm basically signing the papers, got all the things worked out, and this is going to be a poetry bus that I'm going to be taking, at the end of the day, a world tour, but I'm going to start in the U.S., do a U.S. tour as part of my um, tenure as the upcoming USB Poet Laureate. I'm going to create a poetry bus to connect our poetry communities on a mission of spreading peace. And a vision for a better world. So that's up and coming for me. And so I've got, oh, here's some of the other pictures here. I'll show you what's happening here is I've got a stage on top and a stage on the side here. So I'm doing this as a poetry library and a mobile theater. So I'll be doing live poetry off the side of the bus, and we can have other live stuff up on the roof as well. And I'm gonna add a solar panel on top, create a full enclosed power system and be totally independent. And then I'm taking this like everywhere to connect with our poetry communities. So Chris, I am going to get to see you in San Diego, and you're going to see this live in Connecticut at the end of the month. But I just wanted to share a poem, that this has been a big dream of mine for a while, and I wanted to share a poem that kind of summarizes this, because for anyone who has said it can never be done, for all those who look upon those ivory towers with their militarized trenchers, disappearing chambers, and puppet mechanisms, imitating human beings in all aspects, except for a conscience and a body to jail, enslaving a world with visions of hate and sectarianism. I say, dream of a world which is at peace with itself. For all those who have given up hope, who have fallen to despair, who see the skyline falling in on them and the shoreline inching closer, who have given into tears and the bitter tears of defeat. I say, courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Stand tall and lead. For all those who dream of freedom, there is no easy path. Hills follow hills and mountains before we reach our valley. We must use our time wisely and see the horizon. Settle not for a life worth less than living. Reach with your first and very last breath towards victory to that mountain top, and we will all be there with you on the front line of life, standing in the light of that glorious sun. Lift up your hearts, the time is ripe. It always seems impossible until it is done. Thank you.
Can I make a suggestion about the poetry bus? I was thinking about the Partridge Family, which has their bus had the word Partridge Family on the outside. On each side of the bus, I would paint on the outside either poetry bus or beat poetry bus.
Now I'm taking that a step further. I've got a whole muralist working out designs for the whole thing. Yeah, I've got that kind of baked in already. Thanks, though.
Well, congratulations on achieving this, Mark, and promise me if you're going to be driving around in a bus, please promise you'll at least solve a couple of mysteries on your way to the East Coast. You know, you got be like the Scooby Gang, at least solve one mystery per state.
Well, there you go. No promises, but we'll see. Hey, and also for anyone on the East Coast, September 3rd, I'm going to be hosting a beat night at the Worthen in Lowell. This is where Jack Kerouac and supposedly Edgar Allan Poe drank at back in the day. So I'm doing a beat night. John Burroughs, P.W. Covington, Sheila Burke and Joe Kidd are going to be coming in from around the country as featured beats. Chris, if you can stay an extra couple days, you're welcome to join us as well for that. Okay, I'll pass the mic. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank
Is
you,
that
Mark.
Lowell?
Definitely keep us in touch. Whoop.
Yeah, that's in Lowell, Massachusetts, 7 p.m. on September 3rd, Tuesday, September 3rd.
Fantastic. And good luck to you, sir. Up next, we were toying, Ethan, with you possibly reading a poem tonight. If you're passing, just let me know.
No, I can read.
Awesome, Ethan Mackler, everyone. Usually our musical interlude, but now he has some verse that slams, brother.
All right. In the ultimate sport known as professional wrestling, you have what is known as a jobber, which is someone who is set up to lose. It's a job, small name. So this is a work. This is a piece entitled "Beware the Jobber Worky," with obvious acknowledgement to the work of Lewis Carroll. Seems like something Bill will like. All right. 'Twas brillig and the slithy turns did gyre and gimble in the cage. All flimsy were the ring ropes, and the mat it did outgave. Beware the jobber work, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the juice bird, and shun the frimious Bisho match. He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time the mid-card foe he fought. So rested he after the count of 3, and stood awhile in thought. And as an oafish thought he stood, the jobber work, with eyes of flame, came whiffling through the tulgey wood, and botched it as he came. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and through the vorpal blade went snicker snack. He left it down with its head, and went galumphing back. And hast thou pinned the jabber work? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. O finishing move, Callooh Callay, he chortled in his joy. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toes did gyre and gimble in the cage. All flimsy were the ring ropes, and the mat it did outgave. And may I read another one?
Please.
Okay. This is a corruption of Richard III, William Shakespeare. Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer slam by this son of New York, and the crowds that floored upon our house show in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern curt angle changed to merry meetings, our dreadful matches to delightful measures. Grim-visaged war hath smoothed his wrinkled front, and now, instead of mounting barbed wire steel cages, he capers nimbly in a lady's chamber to the lumberjacking teasing of a brute. But I, that am not shaped for sportive tricks, nor made to plant an amorous dark match, I, that am rudely stamped, and want dude love's majesty to strut before a wanton ambling nymph, I, that am curtailed of this fair proportion, cheated of finisher by dissecting nature boy, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this powdering world scarce half made up, and that so tamely and unfashionable that junkyard dogs bark at me as I halt by them. Why I, in this weak pinning time of peace, have no delight to pass away the time, unless to fly my shadow in the rung, and descend on mine own deformity. And therefore, since I cannot prove a partner to sports entertain these farewell spoken days, am I determined to prove a villain. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm gonna have to get you Jake St. John's email because he's trying to put together a wrestling anthology magazine of some sort. So your work would definitely be perfect. And thanks for teaching us about the jobber. You forgot the jobber's jog, which was more prevalent in the 80s. Like there's a wrestler, if they knew if he was going to lose, not only would he go to the ring with no theme music, he would do like a little jog before getting to the ring. He would not run, he would not walk, he'd just like do the jobber's jog. But I learned that a while ago when Jake the Snake was told he had to lose to the Undertaker. He actually does a little jog in protest just to piss off Vince McMahon, probably. Anyway, we have up next less wrestling stuff and more poetry coming up. Thanks to everyone for sticking around. And let's go now to the person who will close out the open mic and segue to our feature. He is Chris Vannoy. He's been listening to all of you. Listen to him afterwards. But first, let's go to Oddball Magazine's poet columnist for Thursdays. It's All One Thing is featured every Thursday morning at 11 o'clock. Let's welcome up Mr. James Van Loy.
Thanks, Chad. So I got actually a Stone Soup poem here called Stone Soup Moving Company. When I first went to Stone Soup, there really was a Stone Soup moving company. And actually, one time, Jack and I tried desperately to move this piano up into a second floor apartment, and it got stuck about halfway up the stairwell because it really, really wasn't enough room. They eventually had to haul it up through the second floor window. But anyway, this is called Stone Soup Moving Company. Man, Stone Soup Moving Company man. The moving man who moves from here to there. Ah, yes, there where all the matter becomes, all the energy. How strange to live in an age when the humanities become the defenders of life, while those who believe in life see the defense of the biosphere as a put down of their human privilege. Will the great mover be there when we really need her? Will the very first mover ever stop moving? The moving man can only explore the spiritual spiral gusts of the cosmic cave. The moving man feels the intestinal fort of our universal predicament with his entrails. He undulates his snake-like spine, takes his hips through the four quarters, and extends the life force to the extremities. Comes back to him in the everyday. The squirrel sitting up to take a look. The cat's tense form creeping its way towards last dash of the hunt. An older man and aging woman playing at the tick, tick, tickle, tick, a game of adult and infant, the way that spring waits in kids on the trees of late winter, the promise that new life always makes to all that is aging, this manifesto of morning light that allows us to feel who we are in the birth of our biorhythms. Sleep deprived, we are someone else than when rested. Who is this ranting clown who can't abide being mocked? Where is wisdom in an information age? What can be the matter? Why do we have to put up with all this? And how can we go on? When will our questions find answers? When all the answers are right there before us, the first buds of the new spring open their hopeful mouths to the moving man, teetering past, hunkered down under the bulk of this huge bag of images and poems thrown over the shore's shoulder of weighty care and a schedule to keep, places to go, things to do. And here's the quick song. Beautiful dreamer, wake unto me. Starlight and dewdrop are waiting for thee. Sounds of the rude world heard in the day, lulled by the moonlight, have all passed away. Beautiful dreamer, queen of my song, list while I woo thee with soft melody. Gone are the cares of life's busy throng. Beautiful dreamer, awake unto me. Beautiful dreamer, awake unto me. Thank you.
Thank you, James. And hopefully some news of these forthcoming publication opportunities are going to be coming down the pipe. And I've been a little hesitant. I've been a little negligent in posting submission opportunities on Stone Soup Poetry, the Facebook group, but hopefully they'll resume tomorrow. Some of the ones that we've heard here are probably going to be reposted, and hopefully one or two new ones. And also Stone's Throw, the issue Unalive the Algorithm. It's probably set for a September release, not because we don't have work, but because the cover artist is probably going to be spending the rest of the month in Spain and might not be able to get to it until after he gets back. But otherwise, it's looking good. And I want to thank everyone who submitted work to our anti-internet issue, which will be available, of course, on the internet. It's how things work. And more announcements will be coming, hopefully when Boston Poetry Marathon and other happenings going on in the next few weeks. Up next, it's time to read the boilerplate for our feature tonight, the much lauded Chris Vannoy, who I'm gonna ask to unmute via click, and hopefully he'll join. Yep, okay. But before I do anything else, we shall read the introductory boilerplate. Chris Vannoy has read up and down both the East and West Coast. He was the Beat Poet Laureate of California in 2018 and the United States Beat Poet Laureate in 2019. That you're going up gradually. That means the world title's next. See, we can always make it about wrestling. During those years, he completed 2 tours of Europe. His first reading of London was at the church where William Blake was baptized, and his last reading was in Dylan Thomas's childhood birthplace in Swansea, Wales. In 2021, he was invited to attend the Tanta Poetry Festival in Tanta, Egypt. This year, he is doing what he likes most, writing and reading his poems at open readings around town in San Diego. The publication of a collection of love poems is planned for 2025. I hope to see this book. In fact, given the last few months, I hope we're all around in 2025. Best of luck to everybody. And now it is time to put your hands together 30, 40 times, virtually, audibly, or otherwise, for Mr. Chris Vannoy.
Thank you. Start off with a poem I wrote about a trip to Los Angeles back in 1995, I think it was, close to that. Goes, shot out of San Diego like a cruise missile guided by red laser taillights, fueled on caffeinated elixir and adrenaline at 3 a.m. after 4 hours sleep. Injected steel and glass projectile into a freeway that resembled strings of cubic zirconia and rhinestone. Starred sky revolved into daylight. Morning found me carving circles through Compton. Sun sparkled diamond light into parked car windows on trash-lined, potholed streets. Where the old red line station house still stands, saved from destruction by an African-American woman's hand. Spires, Watts Towers rise proud, anchored concrete over incessant iron. Needled columns punch defiantly into blue after rain sky. 7:30 a.m. after Watts, 1965. After Rodney King, 1992. Community Action Council fused multiracial human beings into a movement of one over a breakfast of passionate grits. Powerful fried chicken, intense biscuits, and furious hot coffee. Multicultural psyche collected to bridge bureaucrats who promised everything but dispensed only uninhabited time and spoonfuls of action mixed with bitter herbs and hope. Flashed uptown, neon burning my unsunglassed eyes through brown LA smog, and I poured into a room where a black man slept, knew the stripes of injustice because he ate them every day for lunch in his three-flight Hollywood hotel walk-up. 11 a.m., I climbed up the hill to see the god of architecture, but he wasn't home today. He left his temple and the Carametal dogs were busy digging in his front yard, holes big enough to run trains through. I complained when they said I couldn't wait. They threw me out anyway. Fortunately, I came prepared with Florida water from the Britannica, so I sprinkled liberally around the Aztec doorpost to keep the evil spirits out. This freeway through LA has my ass dragging on asphalt, racing metal monsters jockey for position, 7 lanes of cars with crumpled fenders, smiles on 4 lines of road, engines belching fossil fuel vapors that paint a thin brown line between sky and sea. Wearily, I bulldozed my way back to Dago, my tongue hanging out, panting like a tired lion after a chase. Dropped off the package at Hotel 911, 9 p.m. Fell exhausted into Soho and almost drowned in a cup of house coffee. I spent too much for gas. They said they're going to pay me next time I cruise to LA. That happened on the day that who was it? President got inaugurated, and who was it? Maya Angelou read the poem on that day. That's the day I went up to San Francisco. The day I wrote the poem, and the house, the god of architecture was Frank Lloyd Wright's house up at, over by Hollywood, up on top of the hill. Frank Lloyd Wright had designed a house up on top of the hill, and the metal dogs that were digging holes through it were they were digging 2 big tunnels through it for the trolley, for the trolley, I guess you'd call it, light rail. Anyway, next one. Let me see. How about something marked me with a poet's scar, like a werewolf bite. I feel moon rising, thoughts dancing in my mind, craving, seeking escape, lips mimicking hands, translating mystic patterns into words, breathing life as they wake in dark shadows, blazing like searchlights in the fog. Come along with me now as this lunar mood passes. I will show you the woods where thoughts grow like mushrooms that spring from the spores of dreams. His fingers moved nimbly across the lighted panel before him, turning dials and licking switches in such a hurried pace that his eyes could barely follow the movements of his hands, as if they had to. He had grown quite accustomed to controlling their motions through years of haphazard trials, which, more often than not, had led to far more failures than victories. As the years passed, he had mastered them, becoming, in his own words, quite efficient. His hands moved slower now, shutting down the myriad circuits which would no longer be of use to him, adjusting the tiny dials just right for the night that lay ahead. There, he said to himself, smiling, that just about does it. And with that, he reached over and touched the button marked Dreams. I wanted Lukowski's woman. She was long and lean and always dressed in black. Her breath smelled of stale beer, of cinnamon, and of the cloves that she chewed on like candy. She opened my heart with a surgeon's skill, with words and smells and tears. And with the fear she howled in the night in the darkened alleyway behind the hotel where she lived with him. I could hear them fighting. It made me want her even more. It made me want to drag her through my door, but she was Bukowski's woman. So I just sat at the bar across the street, cracking peanuts, throwing the shells on the floor. I wanted Bukowski's woman. She was long and lean and always dressed in black. She did a tap dance on my soul with her high-back heels, punching pinholes in my ego, hissed like a garden hose. She did a tap dance on my soul just 'cause she caught me messing around a little bit with Sally Sue. But what was I to do? She caught me with my pants down. She did a tap dance on my soul, yelling, screaming, hollering. Boy, was I a sad sight, singing cat songs in the backyard all night. She wouldn't even give me a blanket. She sure did a tap dance on my soul with her high spike heels. Let me see. They asked me what beat was, so I told them. Beat is not a what. Beat is an it. It's jazz blues crying out on a night of moody stars over a city that never sleeps. It's a struggle with hard bones and empty bottles. It's dreams left sleeping by the click-clack railroad tracks and dreams waking on the beach with the taste of last night's drunk still in your mouth. It's calling out your lover's name so loud that it shakes the sky to brightness, then moves to the day with fierce determination. It's living present and feeling the perception that there will not be another day like this ever. It's balancing feathers and driving around the world with the stereo blasting through the interstellar air. Its blades spinning through the psychedelic movements of wind, powering the lights at the end of the world. Beat is when someone takes all you have and disappears into a shoot. It disappears into a fog of missing possibilities and leaves you there crying at a table set for one. Beat is when you don't care anymore that you are beat and you just lean forward and listen to the flapping of his shoes on the hot asphalt of a slow boiling summer's day. Beat his yow, man. Beat his yow, man. Beat his yow, man. Cool, cool, cool. It's beat children struggling to save a beat planet from, a, from plastic bags whirling in a radiated sea. Beat is beat down. Beat is beat up. Beat is life, baby. It eats into you like a hungry worm, breaks over you in waves of spent notes spilling wildly from some musician's pinched lipped horn, then wraps around you like a hot, smooth woman on a cool, warm night. Bull beat is a long, slow cry of distant train whistles in the middle of a long, dark dream. It's knowing that you're standing on a path where one journey ends and another one begins. Beat is watching the vapor trails of airplane crisscrossing the sky and knowing that you'll be somewhere else when tomorrow burns a new experience inside you. It's tapping shoes and nodding heads and wild screams when you can't contain the joy that's inside you. It moves your feet, propels you across the floor, and throws you into the arms of a pretty girl, while the musician on stage is smiling because he feels it too. So he starts pounding the piano so hard the sound is flying out through the electric air as the drummer taps his hi-hat of unexplored possibilities. Beat is finding the rhythm in the poem. Beat is life, man. Beat is life. My brother-in-law, when I was over in England, I stayed with my brother-in-law's brother, and he asked me what beat was, and that's the poem I wrote him. Let me see. Neruda, very big influence on my early writing. My a teacher, I went to a workshop, and the teacher asked me if I had read Neruda, and I said no. And he gave me a book of Neruda's poems. I think it was his odes, if I'm not mistaken. And this is the poem that came from that book. He told me to go home and write a poem. Fires of birds swim in the dust of his feet. And he tells me the journey's just begun. His socks lie warm near my bed next to locomotives of steaming villages in a pot of stones and blue sky. The stream of feathers and clocks ask me where he has gone. I tell them he is sleeping in libraries between oranges and melons. I tell them tomorrow he will walk in a countryside of mirrors and dreams. When you find him, your mouth will be filled with canaries. A dance of bones will whistle when he is near. Decaf. I don't drink decaf. Give me caffeine. Make me scream as the brown bean bakes in rotating metal drums. Cappuccino on ice. Latte is nice. Espresso my heart. Squeeze it through steam. Let me sip caffeine. Dripping down thick and strong. Dripping down creamed or chocolated. Sprinkle with nutmeg spice. Vanilla would be nice. More vanilla, please. Squeeze it out of my napkin. Cold, but oh so full of caffeine. Give me a coffee bar in my car. I'll put my order in, fill my 2 liter cup to the brim, top with a flop of whipped cream. Oh, caffeine, decaf. I don't drink decaf. Fred's sad they're with us now. He says that we're the holy cows, aliens from distant stars, perhaps as close as Mars. They come at night to sup and dine on kidney pie and adrenal wine. They come at night, you see, if they like their dinner caffeine free. So drink lots of coffee and don't go to bed, or you may see aliens in your head. Front Porch America. My father lives on the nightly news. He digests the evening paper with the voraciousness of 3 newly hatched caterpillars. Leaves nothing but the spine, which he recycles by packing it around his gun collection. He respects only his Smith & Wesson halted above the fireplace. It keeps him warm when he sleeps. He sits on his Middle America and watches the jobs go to Mexico, herded by Wall Street cowboys with their NAFTA smiles. I hear him mumbling about urban decline as endless flows of Latin Americans slip through the holes in the fence, furrow his lawn of manufactured grass in their slow passage north. He dreams Republican, and every day his world gets browner and more ethnic. With a guarded sigh, I peel my skin off muscles, exploding small capillaries, bruise slightly purple, this perforated, flexible outer casing of mine, mostly water and salt. Your clothes lie near. My bed holds your bones. They dangle across the feathered mattress and rattled as you speak. Crushed roses. Your breath smelled of crushed roses as you spoke of springtime and burnt offerings. Your eyes were tied to the upper corner of the room where the walls and ceiling joined, supported by cobwebs. Your thoughts echo through the silence between us, lost as train whistles on distant tracks. You wish to be left alone. The bars of your silence are cold against my back. I can see the candle in the window across the street, but it's a long way home from here, and I would have to put my skin back on to get there.
Nice.
I see him every day pushing shopping carts, clink clank over cracks in the sidewalk. City stalkers, nomads of the 21st century. There's one tooth Sue. She talks to herself. Remembers when she was prom queen. See there? How she turns away from her reflection in that plate glass window? She's wondering who the old wrinkled woman is. Did you hear her? Not me, not me, not me. And there's Mark the shark flipping cards on the pavement. Come on, bro. Just watch these cards slipping and sliding. I know that you win this time. 2 down and 1 up. Which one? Which one? Only one, bud. Later, dude, I'm showing this guy around town. Bald Betty over there wraps remnants of old blankets around her head. Sings old church hymn, too, and she can remember the words. Cancer treatment took what little savings she had left after the house was sold. And there's Three-Fingered Joe trying to tip that bottle skyward. Squeezes his eyes shut against the sun. He's breathing lightly today. He's trying to hide the 2 busted ribs. Those punks, they would have messed with him 10 years ago. I kicked both their asses good. See those 2 missing fingers on his right hand? That's what ended his boxing career. It broke his spirit, spit him out on the streets of piss and blues. And there's Wanda waiting over by the shelter door with her 2 dirty-faced kids, trying to hide her fear and humiliation, the swelling on the side of her face, swearing silently to herself, it's going to be the last time he's ever going to hit her. The 2nd time this month. She won't press charges. What can the cops do? I see them all the time, every day, and I know most of them, all regulars anyway. They're just ordinary people, just trying to get by on what they got, scraping like the rest of us. Only most of them have to scrape a little harder, dig a little deeper down in their soul, just to survive these days. Life's not easy here on the streets. Hell, Life ain't easy anywhere nowadays. Always someone waiting in an alley or around the corner where the street lamps don't shine, waiting just to bash your head in with a lead pipe. And for what? For what? These people ain't got nothing, man, but the clothes on their backs. Buddy said he can see their spirits go. Always howls just like an old hound dog. Ooh, heard him howl a while ago. Over that way means he's seen someone dead. Be sure when old buddy howls, someone's done gone to meet his maker. That's about time to get in line for the mission. It's good food. Once you get past the preaching, you want to come? All right. Maybe I'll see you around. Here's some more stories about people who live down here on the streets. We're only a penny shrine in the hot sun. Poem came out almost complete. Let me see. 2 pints to take me off to sleep and rest my weary head. A cup of tea, then off to bed will keep this heart from dread. The night will come and hold me here within her arms so sweet. She'll make me dream and softly sing me off to peaceful wanderings. And if tomorrow should greet my eyes to open another day, I'll sip another pint or two and then be on my way. Let's see. Let me see. Joseph in Nassau with a big red boat docks. I drive taxis of tourists to see sights, casinos, shopping, and the 2 old forts on the hill. Pay isn't much. Tips are good some days. I live in a pine pink house overlooking the city. Mama works in a straw market all day, and there since she was little girl makes finest hats in all Bahamas. Two governments say one member of family must work. We have two. NASA is a lovely place to live. Hope you will come back one day. Remember, taxi number 208, and I am Joseph of NASA, the taxi driver we had down there. She's like Coltrane, blue jazz thumping in my chest each time I see the sway of her hips and that wink that tells me she's all mine. Late at night, she whispers low, slow words that sound to me like ice melting in midsummer's heat. And like a downbeat, she plays me like a downbeat. And there's no holding back as the soft riffs of her laughter spill around me, and she's cradled in my arms like a tenor saxophone that my fingers are just aching to play. It's called Like Coltrane. Let me see. Oh, the gardener. After the rains of the past week, he digs the weeds. The gardener, who lives across the hall from me, his hair dyed in a natural shade of yellow, tattoos spilled down his arms, escaping from his black t-shirt sleeves. Sometimes I hear his music escaping too from around the door where the air conditioner hums. He is a good gardener, plants cactus and marigolds. But he says that his marijuana just won't grow. He says that it's been too hot, that he didn't water it enough. I think it was the school. I breathe my body electric. Title comes from a short story by, okay, it was on the Twilight Zone too. Uh, anyway, who is it? Who was the guy? Anyway, comes from a short story and anyway, I breathe my body electric. I breathe my body electric where cities hum with scattered light from a million curtained windows as half the globe passes from day to night. Our times are filled with inconsistencies. We are miniaturized. Our vital components have become interchangeable. Space is cluttered with debris. Communication is globally instant. Cell phones ring at inappropriate times. Emails will leave us with no lasting mark for the anthropologist to decipher. I am crossing the millennium, already encased in my time at the beginning of the atomic age. I have grown nuclear. My future is now. I bow beneath the weight of technology that drags me behind the spinning polymer wheel constructed of silicone and internet connections as the new past hurries by me with alien signs of change. I am crossing the millennium. I feel obsolete. I cannot stop its progress. It grinds me between dollars. I can only move forward covered in sports hype and the latest designer clothes. Time compresses me into smaller and smaller bites, gobbles me up in corporate mergers that plow the field under for the bottom line. They will feed me genetically altered food as they slowly starve the third world. The United Nations struggle with selective strikes as refugees live in squalid camps. They wonder if there will be a home to go home to. I see the brutality of the ethnically cleansed, mass voices broken in a chasm of futility that leads my soul to slaughter, and I cannot wash the spot of blood from my hand. I have pushed the button up, I have pushed the off button on the remote, but I cannot keep this dream of killing from my ears. The line of my arrival stretches from the middle of the last century, travels the beginning of rock and roll, walks the jungles of Vietnam. Born at the birth of the first transistor, the world has grown smaller around me, reduced to nanoseconds, measured in milliamps. Reproduction of species has moved to the laboratory. We sit on a teetering one-leg stool that my grandfather used to milk his cow. I sell my spirit to the highest bidder, unlock my genetic code for the insurance company to find the day I will die. Not all there is to know about me for the government. Still, the ageless questions worry me. Why, who am I and why am I here? I breathe my body electric. I sigh and my body groans. I sigh digitally through shaded plastic, cover my ears in foam sound. I am seat belted in climate controlled comfort, encased in steel that has been welded with robotic arms. My fingers have reached into the outerness of space. I listen with a vast array of parabolic ears to the twitching of galaxies that no longer exist as I gaze light years toward the Big Bang. I smash atoms into quarks and protons, pick skeletons from the cold bottoms of oceans, defy gravity with liquid nitrogen. I am crossing the millennium of jihad, of second coming, of hopeless intervention, carving my legacy into the flesh of the unborn. Here will be the end of my life in this century that opens before me. I got enough, Chad?
You want to do one more for an encore, and or was that
Yeah,
your
fine.
encore? Either way, I love that. I love that last line, "Jihad of Second Coming." That was great.
Let me see. Oh, my first good poem. Let me see. I held a cup of sweet dreams that morning against the cold. The thoughts of her warm body like fire caressed my soul. But the warmth was quickly ended. The chill of loneliness began with a cup which I had treasured dropped helplessly from my hand. The cup that lay in pieces broken upon the floor, my mind searching the rubble for dreams that were no more. Forever so quickly ended, never was meant to be. My love was vowed forever, for love is gone from me.
Very nice. And is that going to be one of the poems in the 2025 collection?
Yeah, definitely. That'll be there.
Well, thank you very much, everyone. Hands together 30, 40 times for Mr. Chris Vannoy, who I hope comes back at some point. We'll keep you on the invites, and you should join the Stone Soup group. If you want to give us a PayPal email account, if anyone wants to donate towards your continued existence, they can do so. You can give me the email later on, either through this chat, through the messenger chat, or through regular email channels. And
Okay.
I can't wait. I can't wait for the new book to come out. If it's out, let us know. We'll have you. We'll have it be part of your reading party. So definitely keep us in the loop.
Sounds good. I will.
That's fantastic, and thank you very much. That was quite a bit, and it's quite a nice beat injection. Jack Powers is very much influenced by the beats. He's the founder of Stone Soup Poetry in 1971. He is actually famous for publishing a book called Jack of Hearts by Lawrence Ferlinghetti, so which is a hard one to track down. And so yeah, the West Coast and the beat scene definitely influenced him and a flurry of other poets in the East Coast. So it's always good to have a beat exchange program. I always have a hard time even understanding what a beat is, but it's kind of those if you have to ask, you'll never know kind of things.
You
So
got yeah, you have to be beat.
yeah. Well, I'm good. We have the beat poets of the modern era, of previous years and previous festivals, which Snow Soup has also hosted, to show us how it's done. So thank you again one more time, and thanks to
Thank you.
everyone who came out tonight for the feature. And stay tuned for a PayPal account. Oh yes, excellent. I will post that tomorrow when I post the photo of us doing the obligatory wave as we say goodbye to tonight, and hope for a prosperous rest of the month. Hopefully, I'll be announcing the next feature either I will either happen next week or 2 weeks from now. Might need to give him enough time. He's been a temporary. He's been at one point a bestseller on the Amazon poetry book list, and his book came out only a few weeks ago. So I can't wait to announce his name. Don't want to say it yet until we know, but I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you guys are too. And I hope you're looking forward to the rest of Stone Soup Poetry for the rest of the year as we count down to the end of the year, and hopefully not the end of democracy and society. Sometimes these two can go hand in hand, but we will see what happens. And good luck to everyone in the next couple of days. I hope you stay cool. I hope you stay safe. And thanks for your work. And check out the video tomorrow, post it sometime between 8:30 and 9. And have yourselves an excellent night. And thanks again, once again, to Chris Vannoy. Or
Thank
as
you,
I like to
Chad.
say, thank you. And as I like to say, show's over. We see you next time.